श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। So, fifth verse is completed, where we have condemned both Sankhya and Vaisheshika Siddhantas. The fallacies in both of them were pointed out. Next, we should see the Śloka number 6. Before that, Acharya says, Katam punaha atma bheda nimitta iva vyavaharaha ekasmin atmani avidyakrut upapadyata iti uchyate. Now, then, how is it that atma bheda nimitta iva vyavahara ekasmin atmani avidyakruta vyavahara? So, this vyavahara caused by ignorance, how does then this vyavahara take place? In one atma only. In one Atma only, in Eka Atma, Punaha Atma Bheda Nimitta Iva. But as though self is differentiated and appearing as many, in one Atma only. But as though this is many becoming many, and Vyavahara is, and all empirical dealings are taking place, caused by ignorance. How does this take place, etc.? All these things, how entire transaction, empirical dealing is possible in one Atma. One Atma is one. It is said. Rupakarya samakhyascha vidhyante tatra tatra vai akashasya na bhedosti तद्वज्जीवेषु निर्णयः। रूपकार्यसमाख्याश्च विद्यन्ते तत्र तत्र वै आकाशस्य न भेदोऽस्ति तद्वज्जीवेषु निर्णयः। यथा इह आकाश एकस्मिन् एकस्मिन् आकाशे, in one space only. Iha akashaha ekasmin akashaha ghata karaka apavaraka adi akashanam alpavatva mahatvadi rupani vidyante tatha karyam udakaharana dharana shayanadi samakhyascha ghatakasha karakakasha ityadyaha तत्कृताश्च भिन्नाः दृश्यन्ते। यथा यहाँ पे भी now in this example same आकाशः एकस्मिन् आकाशः, in one आकाश only घट करक apavaraka, all those things. Ghata means pot. Karaka, kamandal, water jar, jug, kamandalam. So ghata, karaka, then apavaraka. Apavaraka means any house you can take, or actual meaning apavaraka means an inner apartment supported by the walls, etc. The inner chamber. The lying in inner chamber, the entire thing is called, that is house. Apavaraka. Apavaraka means something is enclosed with inner chamber, inner walls. Inner chamber ko कहते हैं apavaraka, meaning house or matham, etc. So apavaraka ekasmin ghata ekasmin akashe. In one space alone, what is we see? Ghata we see, pot space, pot, karaka, kamandala, apavaraka, the house, etc., adi, etc. Apavaraka adi, akashanam alpavatva mahatvadi rupani vidyante. So ghatakasha, karakakasha, then the apavaraka akasha. In all the spot space, in the space in the kamandal, space in the house में आपको क्या महसूस होता है? What does it happens? अल्पत्व महत्वादि रूपाणि आकाशा. उसमें क्या है ना? अल्पत्व, a small space it is, छोटा space है, वो तो बड़ा विशाल space है, यहाँ पे काफ़ी space है, काफ़ी जगह है, यहाँ पे कम जगह है. That kind of a thing is generated in us. A feeling is generated. अल्पत्वम, महत्वम, both. Enclosed in the space, enclosed में, then such kind of smallness, it's a big space, यहाँ पे बहुत कम जगह है, वहाँ पे बहुत बड़ा जगह है, ये तो काफ़ी बड़ा हॉल है, उससे बहुत बड़ा है, वो तो बहुत छोटा था, वो मैं जब हमने जो कल देखा था हॉल, मैं दिस छोटापन बड़ापन का महसूस जो हो रहा है, actually that's one thing, that feeling of smallness and bigness created by the pot, the kamandal, and the house, any ghar, etc. created by that. Feeling is created because of this pot, kamandal, water jug, etc. Tatha, moreover, karyam. Karya means udakaharana, dharana, shayanadi, samakhyascha. Udakaharana means fetching the water. Dharana, holding. Udaka means water. Aharana, bringing. So, udakaharana, dharana, shayanadi, and bringing, fetching water, holding the water, sleeping, various activities. Shayanadi, samakhyascha, meaning to recon, to tell, to recon, etc. Samakhyascha, ghatakasha, karakakasha, ityadyaha, tatkrutascha, bhinnaha drishyante. And we see Ghatakasha, Karakakasha, Itla. We can say Ityadi, name we will name them. There is pot space, difference is created. In the Akasha only. Akash mein both the differences of Mahatva and Alpatvam are created, and we name it as Ghatakasha hai. ये तो dining hall की जगह है, ये kitchen की जगह है. This is kitchen space. How much kitchen space you have allotted? How much dining space you have allotted? स्पेस में ये डिफरेंसेस नहीं हो सकता है, बट व्यवहार में हम चला रहे हैं. सो घटाकाश, करकाकाश इत्याद्याः तत्कृताश्च भिन्नाः दृश्यन्ते. All these differences created by them, by all this jar, pot, etc., are clearly seen, noticed in space. And we name it also. दुष्यन्ते तत्र तत्र वै व्यवहार विषय इत्यर्थः. माने जहाँ जहाँ पे व्यवहार के लिए all those things are for the sake of empirical dealing, all these names are given, all these differences are noticed, seen. In vyavahara they are accepted, and we continue to use that kind of word, those words. Next, sarvaha ayam akashe rupadi bedakrito vyavaharo na paramartha eva. But in reality, paramartha, na paramarthaha. In reality, actually this sarve ayam akashe rupadi bheda krito vyavaharah na paramarthatah asti, meaning in reality in the akasha this part space करके कोई ऐसा नहीं है, ये तो कमंडल का जगह ऐसा कोई भी नहीं है. All these names in space actually they don't exist. आकाश में ये सब भेद नहीं है. Yet we use those words. Now paramartha eva. Paramartha eva means from the standpoint of reality, they don't exist. This kind of a ये तो ये part space है, big space, small space. They don't exist. But where are they existing? व्यवहार के लिए, because of upadhi we use that word. In fact, they don't exist. Paramarthatah tu akashasya na bhedah asti. So from the standpoint of paramartha, from the reality standpoint of view, in fact, there is no differences in space. But space can never be differentiated. Space can never be divided. Impossible. So, na paramarthatah, when paramarthatah tu, indeed, akashasya na bhedah asti. Akash mein, from the standpoint of reality, no difference can exist. See? Nacha akasha bheda nimitto vyavaharah asti antarena paroupadikritam dvaram. Now, akasha bheda nimittah vyavaharah asti paroupadikritam dvaram. Now, in fact, what is happening? All these, because of objects, upadhis created, akasha bheda nimittah vyavaharah asti, na asti. So, in fact, this this entire difference is not because of akasha, because they are actually due to the upadhi of various things that exist in space. So, upadhi nimittam, the vyavahara is taking place, not akasha nimittam. That's the meaning. See? That is beautiful. So, just as these differences are existing here, yatha meaning, yatha etat tadvad. Just as this is seen in with respect to the objects of the world outside, जैसा लोक में व्यवहार रूपेण व्यवहार के लिए ये सब देखा इस तरह से देखा जा रहा है कि पार्ट स्पेस है, करकाकाश, घटाकाश, all those things. यथा एतद् तद्वद्, in same way, similar fashion, इह उपाधि भेद कृतेषु जीवेषु, among all the souls, upadhi krita, among the jivas, all these upadhi krita jivas, these all limited upadhis are there. Because of that, ghatakasha sthaniyeshu. So now what is the jiveshu? Just similar, just as the part space is there, similarly the jivas. So जीव के अभी घड़ा के स्थान में कौन है? जीव. So जीवेषु घटाकाश स्थानीयेषु आत्मसु निरूपणात् कृतः बुद्धिमद्भिः निर्णयः निश्चयः इत्यर्थः. Similarly, बुद्धिमत, the wise people declared, just as this is व्यवहार में हम लाते हैं कि ये घटाकाश है, ये वो है, वास्तव में आकाश में भेद नहीं है. Similarly, उपाधि निमित्त जीव, because the jivas, because of the limited adjunct, this noticed, व्यवहार के लिए देखता है, देखा जा रहा है ये सब, this differences, but this is, in fact, they don't exist. This is a final conclusion of whom? Buddhimadbihi, wise people. The wise people have come to a definite conclusion. It's a definite conclusion. Nirnayaha, निश्चयः. जैसे आकाश में भेद नहीं है, फिर भी व्यवहार के लिए मानते हैं, इसलिए जीवास आर लाइक पॉट्स and actually there is no difference in whatsoever in akasha. Similarly in paramartha, in the truth there is no division. That is a beauty. Ityartha. Nanu, now another doubt is taken up. Nanu tatra paramartha kruta eva ghadakashadishu रूपकार्यादि भेद व्यवहारः इति न एतदस्ति यस्मात् ननु one doubt is asked. Sir, परमार्थकृत एव घटाकाशादिषु. Now रूपकार्यादि भेदेषु व्यवहारः इति. Now see, आपने बताया कि the space created by pot, that is pot space. So the pot created by space, a pot space, and also the space within the pot, space within the kamandal, space within the house, etc., etc. Okay, you said there are no differences in space, accepted. But that so pot space is illusion. You said that space within the house is illusion, space within the kamandal is illusion. Okay, that is maybe accepted. But the dealings which are born out of it, they cannot be untrue. They could be real. Vyavahara born out of these things could be real. Like for example, tatra paramartha kruta eva ghatakashadishu rupakaryadi bheda vyavahara iti. So it may be real only vyavahar mein. Vyavahar mein real ho sakta hai na. Vyavahar mein real. But part space is illusion. Okay. But part space talking to other part space, that vyavahara is real. Why can't we make it like that? Na etadasti. This is not the correct way to think. This is not possible. Na etadasti. It is not like that. Why? Yasmat, since nakashasya gatakasho विकारावयवौ यथा नैवात्मानः सदा जीवः विकारावयवौ तथा नाकाशस्य घटाकाशो विकारो वयवौ यथा नैवात्मनः सदा जीवः विकारा. Now, this is not because since it is not ऐसा नहीं होता है. That vyavahara is correct, but the part space etc. etc. are unreal. Space has no division, but part space is an illusion. But the vyavahara between what transpires between them, each part space, each jiva, could be real. He said, Acharya says no. Why? Paramartha akashasya ghatakashaho na vikaraha. Now one thing. Why it is not possible vyavahara? One thing. Means you are accepting part space as unreal, but the empirical dealing born out of that part space is to be considered as real. समझ में आया आपको? It is not possible. Only just because, देखिए, first beginning Acharya says, Paramartha Akasha, meaning the real space. There is a real space, Paramartha Akasha. Ghatakasha na vikaraha. The part space is not really formed or modified or modification of the real Akasha. Real Akasha mein there is no modification. It is not modified into or as part space. There is no parivartanam in Akasha. घटाकाश बन गया तो आकाश में परिवर्तित हुआ आकाश, इसके बाद घटाकाश बना, ये गलत है. उसमें परिवर्तन नहीं है, उसमें कोई विकार नहीं है. किसमें? आकाश में. तो विकार नहीं हुआ आकाश में, फिर भी घटाकाश का सृष्टि की गई थी. इसका मतलब क्या है? वो घटाकाश सच नहीं है. It is only an imagination. Ghatakash, now tell me, pot space is due to space or pot? Pot, not space. उपाधि निमित्त घटाकाश करके नाम दिया गया. There is no modification in space. That's what now. Paramartha akashasya ghatakashah na vikaraha. There is no modification. There is no vikara. There is no transformation of real space transforming itself into pot space. कोई परिवर्तन नहीं है उसमें. यथा सुवर्णस्य रुचकादिः यथा वा अपाम फेन बुद्बुद हिमादिः न अपि अवयवो यथा वृक्षस्य शाकादिः. Now, just as the gold ornaments are made up of gold, वहाँ पे क्या हुआ? Gold is transformed into, modified into an ornament. गोल्ड में परिवर्तन दिखाई दे पड़े. Gold is changed into an ornament. Okay? Or water is changed into apam. In the water we see fena, budbuda, himadi, ice, foam, bubbles. Fena, foam. Budbuda, bubbles. Himadi, ice. All these are all modifications of water molecule. Just as water is modified into these, just as gold is modified into ornaments. ऐसा नहीं होता है. Akasha is modified into pot space. No. Akasha is not modified. Na api avayavaha. Nor the pot space, kamandal ka akash, matakash, gatakash, etc. are not the parts of total space. Angi anga bhava. Avayava. Parts. आकाश का अलग अलग पार्ट्स हैं. जस्ट एज न अपि अवयवः यथा जस्ट एज वृक्षस्य शाकादिः. जस्ट एज द ब्रांचेस ऑफ ए ट्री. द ब्रांचेस ऑफ ए ट्री आर पार्ट ऑफ ए ट्री. सिमिलरली पार्ट स्पेस, रूम स्पेस, etc. are not the parts of total space. There are no avayavah nor modification. Because no, there is no modification, Akash ka modification nahi hai. Then somebody might try, it could be parts. A part of total space could be the part space. No. So, na api avayavaha yatha vrakshasya shakadihi. Na tatha akashasya ghatakashaho vikara avayavaha yatha तथा नैव आत्मनः परस्य परमार्थतः महाकाशस्थानीयस्य घटाकाशस्थानीयो जीवः सदा I think सदा सर्वदा यथोक्त दृष्टान्तवत् न विकारः न अपि अवयवः अतः आत्मभेदकृतो व्यवहारः मृषा एव इत्यर्थः. Similarly, आकाशस्य घटाकाशः न विकारः अवयवौ न विकारः न अवयवः. Just as the pot space is neither a modification nor a part of the total space, tatha similarly atmanah parasya atmanah paramartha satah. Atmanah means paramatmanah, the real self, whatever is there, paramartha satah mahakashasthaniyasya, which is like in the position of mahakasha. Just as mahakasha, total space, and pot space are related. In what way? That pot space is not modification of total space. Similarly, Paramartha is like Mahakasha. Mahakasha, limitless sky. Mahakasha means limitless sky, the sky which is unlimited. Mahakasha. So Mahakashasthaniyasya Ghatakashasthaniyo Jivaha. और घटाकाश स्थान में कौन बैठा है? जीव. So just as Mahakasha, Ghatakasha, similarly Paramatma and Jivatma. This Paramatma is unconditioned, Jiva is conditioned like pot space, conditioned by pot, conditioned by avidya, In fact, the jiva is not a modification of the Paramatma, nor a part of jiva is not a part of Paramatma. Then who is jiva? Paramatma only. Part space is neither the modification of total space nor a part of total space. Then what is part space? Part space is pure space only. No difference. So, jivaha sada means sarvada yathokta drushtantavatu. As said in the above example, just as example mentioned, part space etc. etc. example vata na vikaraha na api avayavaha. So the jiva is neither a modification of Supreme Self nor a part of Supreme Self. Just as the part space is neither a part of Supreme Space nor a modification of Supreme Space. Ataha, therefore, Atma Bheda Kruto Vyavaharaha Mrusha Eva Ityartaha. Therefore, these differences created in the jivas, Atma Bheda, in the Atma, the differences which are created in the Atma, they are not real. Mrusha Eva, they are totally false. They don't exist. This multiplicity, the differences don't exist. Yasmat yatha ghatakashadi bheda buddhi nibandhanaha rupakaryadi bheda vyavaharaha tatha deha upadi jiva bheda kruto janma maranadi vyavaharaha. No, yasmat, since, yatha, just as, ghatakashadi bheda buddhi nibandhanaha. अब देखिए, this घटाकाश है, this is the room space, that is part space, this is this space. These differences are buddhi nibandhanaha. Why? Because of the differences are all due to buddhi. Buddhi misunderstood. Buddhi considering that these differences are real. Conditioned buddhi it is called. Buddhi nibandhanaha. Rupa karyadi bheda vyavaharaha. This rupa, karya, all the differences are buddhi bheda. Not real. Tatha, similarly, deha upadhi jiva bheda krutaha. Deha upadhi jivaha, this bheda. Jiva bheda krutaha. Jiva bheda based because of the deha upadhi, they are all kruto janma maranadi vyavaharaha. First differences are created, then janma marana vyavahara. This is all like part vyavahara. Part space vyavahara. These are all created by. Similarly, the jivasya bheda, upadi bheda, jiva bheda, uska vyavahara, all these are all similar to that part space and their transactions or empirical dealings. This is buddhi nibandhanaha. Bas, it is not real. Tasmat, therefore, tat krutameva klesha karma phala malavatvam atmanaha na paramartataha iti etamartham drushtantena pratipadayishyan aha. Therefore, all tasmat tat krutameva klesha karma phala malavatvam. Tat krutameva buddhi nibandhana eva. You considered upadhi nibandhanam eva. Therefore, all the problems, karma phala, all those things. Klesha, karma phala, and mala, vikshepa, otherwise Yoga Sutra says, so many dust etc. gathered in the antakarana, all these things, malavatvam atmanaha, na paramartataha iti. In fact, in reality it is no. Like one pot is filled with dust, but the space is not contaminated. Pot space is not contaminated by the dust in the pot. So it is all bheda nimittaha upadikrutameva na paramartataha. From reality there is nothing. So na paramartata iti etamartham drushtantena pratipadayishyan aha. So same meaning is given, made us to understand this, made yes, through an example. Example is taken up to make us understand that this is all not true. Upadhi bandhanam only, buddhi nibandhanam eva. In fact, the reality is different. What is it? Yatha bhavati balanam gaganam malinam malaihi tatha bhavatya buddhanam आत्मापि मलिनो मलैः यथा भवति लोके बालानाम् अविवेकिनां. Balanam, children say. Balana means avivekinam, unintelligent people, children in the loka, in the world, they say, Gaganam akasham ghana rajodhumadi malaihi malinam. This space is filled with dust and cloud and dark matter and then everything, filled with all these things, malinam, tainted by all the dust and then blackness, etc., etc. Gande gande cheez akash mein. Ghanam thick, rajo dhumadi malaihi malinam, malavat, na gaganam malavat yathatma vivekinam. But actually, though it is all seen muddy, but yathatma vivekinam, but the intelligent people, wise people ke liye, gaganam na malavat. Gaganam is not tainted. Children say the space is black and space is filled with dust, dusty space. But the Viveki people know that space is not dusty because space is uncontaminated, uncontaminable. What? Space. Try. Can you contaminate space? No. But what is one of the qualities of space is asparsha. Can you touch space? Asparsha. That which cannot be touched, how can you contaminate it? Think. So, malavat, because it all becomes malinam. In fact, the reality is gaganam na gaganam malavat yathatmya avivekinam. Yathatmya vivekinam, sorry. Wise people ke liye, the space is not become dusty. Space cannot be contaminated. Tatha bhavati atma paraha atma api yo vijñāta prachaklesha karma phala malaihi malinaha. Similarly, Paramatma, this Paramatma, Paratma, Atma, Paramatma, inside Atma, yo vijñāta, jiska jnān hua, the one knower who knows this, vijñāta, prachaklesha karma phala malaihi na malina. Meaning, he is not tainted by one's own ignorance and all those, the other various thoughts, karma phala, fruits of action, not tainted by karma phala, etc., etc. Vijñāta. Prachak klesha karma phala malaihi. The prachak means inside, one's own. He is absolutely not tainted by his own. Abuddhanam prachagatma viveka rahitanam na atma vivekavatam. But this dust and all that is seen, for whom? Aviveki logon ko aisa mahsus hota hai. But not to the ones those who are aware of their own self. Unke liye this akasha is not tainted. So that they are not tainted. Self is not tainted at all. See, nahi ushara deshaha trungvat prapya prani adhyaropita udaka fena tarangadi mamsaha tatha na atma budharopita kleshadi malaihi malinaha bhavati ityartaha. Now see, there is a desert is there. The desert mein kya hai? All those things, superimposed. So many things are superimposed. Dust, desert mein the water is superimposed, ship is superimposed. All those things, tarangas, waves are superimposed, foam is superimposed on mirage waters. Desert mein mirage water, all these things, when there is a boat, so many things you can imagine. All those things. For avivekina. Na atma buddha aropita klesha adi malaihi malinaha bhavati. Just because ignorant people are seeing all these things, they don't become real. The ignorant people see all those things, they don't attain any status of reality. It's a beautiful thing. आप देख रहे हैं सब, it doesn't mean they all attain status of reality. See? You may see, but they are not real. Similarly, ignorant person may see many things. they don't attain any status of reality. पागल बहुत कुछ देखता रहता है आंख खोल के, बट ये नियम नहीं कि सारा का सारा उनका अनुभव सच है, नहीं. सो देयरफॉर पुनः अपि उक्तम एवार्थम प्रपंचयति. सो सेम थिंग अगेन I told again in the next sloka also. Marane sambhave chaiva gatya gamanayorapi stitau sarva sharireshu akashena vilakshanaha. Marane, read. Marane sambhave chaiva very simple. Ghatakasha, Janma, Nasha, Gamana, Gamana, Stitivat, Sarva Sharireshu, Atmanaha, Janma Maranadi Akashena, Avilakshanaha, Pratyetavyaha, Ityartaha. Bas, very simple. Just as the Ghatakasha, K, Mane, in the past space as Janma, Ghatakasha, Janma, Nasha, Gamana, Agamana, Stitivat. घटाकाश का उत्पत्ति स्थिति लय एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा सर्व शरीरेषु आत्मनः जन्म मरणादि आकाशेन अविलक्षणः. बट आत्मा इज फ्रीड फ्रॉम ऑल दिस जन्म मरण एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. घटोत्पत्ति घट स्थिति घटनाश है, बट घट के साथ आत्मोत्पत्ति आत्मस्थिति आत्मनाश नहीं है. दैट इज द मीनिंग. So Janma, Marana, Adivika, all this Akashana, Avalakshanaha, Pratyetavyaha. All these things are, there is no difference in space. Space is untouched by all these things. See, Atma is untouched. We should not taint Atma with all these changes. That is the meaning. So, we will take up tomorrow 10th Śloka. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ओम सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय.